there, I am Deborah Charnes of the Namaste Council and the Namaste Getaway, and I'm going to talk to you today about some breathing techniques for coronavirus. So when they first started talking about coronavirus, one of the things that really scared me was when they were talking about what happens to the lungs of people with coronavirus. And basically, again, I'm not a medical practitioner, but from my understanding is there's a type of pneumonia that you get and you basically lose your elasticity of the lungs. So it's extremely difficult to breathe. So there are definitely a lot of good breathing techniques through yoga that can help to create the elasticity in the lungs and also to increase the lung capacity, because that's one of the things that yoga always does. Yoga, when I say yoga, I don't mean the physical, I mean everything about yoga, and breath work is part and parcel of yoga. So breathing exercises have long been recommended for people that have asthma and of course for any other kind of lung issues. So I'm going to go over today a couple of different breathing techniques that are particularly good for preparing yourself for COVID. The first one is called Ujjayi breath. This is the most common breathing technique in yoga. It's also called yogic breathing. It's also called three-part breathing. And I'm going to show you just very simply how it normally is, and then I'm going to show you modifications that can help in particular for COVID. So the way that I was taught Ujjayi breath a long time ago was to imagine that your torso is like an old ceramic decanter. And when you inhale, the belly expands, and then your upper abdomen expands, and then your chest expands. And it's not only expanding this way, but you also want it to expand out that way. And then one of the most important things is when you exhale, you really need to squeeze out all of the air. So you first squeeze it out from the chest, then from the upper abdomen, and then from the belly. And the reason why I visualize a decanter is because when you have a big pitcher, when you fill it up with water, you're filling it up from the bottom to the top. And then when you empty it from the top to the bottom. So that is my visualization for Ujjayi yogic three-part breathing. And the reason why I call it three-part is low belly, upper abdomen, and then the chest. And one of the great things about Ujjayi breathing is that it's good for everybody. There are a lot of pranayama, which are breathing techniques that are contraindicated for different people, but pretty much everyone can practice Ujjayi breath. So I'm going to just demonstrate very simply how it's done. I like to put my hand on my heart, and then I'm going to put my other hand on my belly, my low belly, so that you can kind of feel the low belly expand and then the heart. And you always inhale and exhale through the nose, long, deep breathing as far as you can go. So I'm going to take a couple breaths and it'll be silent. I'm going to come a little bit closer to the camera, and I'm hoping that you heard how my breaths sound. It's also called the sound of the waves, so you want to kind of hear the waves both when you inhale and when you exhale. So anyway, that is typical Ujjayi breath. I do that every day for a couple of minutes, first thing I do when I wake up. But I'm going to show you some modifications that are extremely beneficial for COVID. So I'm going to just kind of pretend that I'm lying down on my back. And one thing that you can do is you can lie down on your back with your knees bent. So imagine that I'm on my back, my knees are bent, so that you're lying supine, but your knees are bent. And the reason why I like my knees bent is because it protects the back. And then you do the same thing that we did before, the traditional yogic breath. And what I like to do is I make a diamond out of my fingers, And I place that diamond at my low belly, kind of like around my belly right here. And then when I inhale, again, I feel it come up. And when I exhale, I try to squish it to really squeeze out all the air. So that's another modification, a great way to do it, because when you're lying supine, when you're lying on your back, face up, it's better for the lungs to expand. So another thing that I like to do is what I call supported fish. And you can take a rolled up mat, or you can take a block, or you can take a towel. So I'm all about, you don't need any yoga props. Anybody can do yoga anywhere. And again, it's not about the movement. We're talking about breath work today. So imagine you have this rolled up towel or the mat, and you put it behind your back, underneath your armpits, and you lie down on your back so that your chest comes forward more. You can also do that with the block, low level, not high or middle level, low level. And again, you put it the same way, but a rolled up towel or mat is a lot more comfortable because it's rounder and squishier, and you do the same thing, and you'll feel that your lungs are increasing their capacity more. So I do want to just mention again that it's really important that you really fill up your lungs as much as you can to capacity, and then squeeze out all the air as much as you can to get rid of all the toxins. So again, that's working the elasticity of the lungs, and traditionally we don't stretch our lungs like we should. We're typically very lazy breathers. We breathe kind of like, but we need to really, really feel the lungs expand and contract. So I hope this has been helpful for you, and it's super simple. You can do it, start with 30 seconds, go to a minute, go to a couple minutes, and I try to do this breathing exercise basically kind of like throughout the day. It should come almost to be subconscious, where it's something that you do throughout. It is something that when I do my physical yoga practice, I was trained that when you do your physical yoga practice, even if it's an hour and a half long, you want to maintain that breath work throughout the entire hour and a half. So anyway, I am Deborah Charnes of the Namaste Council and the Namaste Getaway, and also the Right Council. And I hope this has been helpful for you, and I invite you to post some comments about any questions you have, and give it a shot. And again, the longer you go, the better. From my heart to yours, namaste.